we're playing Diablo 4, and I'm playing a Barbarian. I always play Barbarian in Diablo. I've been playing in Diablo 2, Diablo 3. I even played Warrior in Diablo 1. I played Warrior in World of Warcraft. So I was obviously going to play a Barbarian. My build is slightly different to what I've seen other people playing. I think it really works well. It's all focused around the Lunging Strike and the Lunging Strike damage. So I'll just quickly look at the talents. This talent tree is awful. Okay, yeah. Lunging Strike. Enhanced Lunging Strike, obviously. And the Bleed. Now you could take the Berserk in, because the Bleed, while it's quite a lot of damage, it doesn't really have a lot of time to work. At least not at this difficulty level, when the monsters have got quite low health. Even the bosses, they don't take a huge amount of damage from the Bleed, so you could probably just play the Berserk in. But with the crit levels are quite low, I don't find it really gets a lot of uptime. And we can get our Berserk uptime with Wrath of the Berserker, so it's probably not worth using. I've also got Death Blow, which is mainly used to keep up Berserk again, but it does do a lot of damage when it's used, so it does have its uses. I do use it also. Upheaval, this is just our spender. I'm not maxed into this because it's not the really primary goal of the build, but it does do a lot of damage when you use this talent, the Furious Upheaval. Get up to 10 stacks, you get 80% extra damage, and then you use this legendary, okay, this legendary power. Basic skill increases the damage of your next core cast. So I Lunging Strike around really fast, build up to 50%. I've got 10%. I got 10 stacks here, so that's another 80%. And then I use my Upheaval to burn my Fury spender. I don't want to be spending a lot of Fury a lot of the time, because I've got this skills deal up to 50%, 54% more damage based on your available primary resource. So I like to keep my Fury mostly maximum, build up my stacks so that the Upheaval does a lot of damage, and then use it to wipe out mostly AoE packs. When I'm fighting bosses, I'm pretty much exclusively using Lunging Strike, because it attacks extremely fast and does a lot of damage with all these modifiers. Stacking basic skill damage, this is obviously because it's a basic skill, so you can get weapons with 2 sockets on the 2-handers and 1, so you need to get, yeah, all these slots you need to have sockets, basic skill damage, just pump it up. This legendary attack speed with basic skills is probably, I think it's better on the 2-handed weapon, but you know, I didn't want to change my weapons too much, so I've just left it as it is. I haven't really got time to fully optimize the build. You know, the beta ends, I think, today, maybe soon. So I'm just gonna run through the dungeon, and we'll see. Oh fucking hell, that's not a door. Let's go. So like I said, the primary goal of this is to one-shot most of the lower health mobs and to just teleport around the dungeon. I just point out that this does work. You stand still, you get 30% damage. As long as you're not moving with the clicker, you can get this to stay up, which means you can teleport between targets using Lunging Strike and keep the damage bonus up, which is, it is a pretty big deal if you game around it. If you just turn your brain off, then it's obviously not going to work as well, but the build works well either way. The build works with a lot less gear than this, because I've been playing this build since level 1. It was awful at the start. I got a few legendaries and it really started to make a big difference. So you just run around and you one-shot everything. And even if I don't one-shot them, the bleed is going to finish them off. So if I leave some behind, they're mostly going to die from the bleed. And then I do Upheaval, and off we go. So I'm going to probably do this full dungeon, because I want to see the boss at the end. But I'm not going to talk as much now, because I've explained the build. I have no idea how this compares to like some of the other builds. I know there's people are playing Thorns builds and Whirlwind builds and Upheaval, you know, super damage Upheaval builds that do like 100k crits. I think the benefit with this is that it just moves so fast. You can just always track targets. The main downside of playing Barbarian is that you have to chase the target, and this is why Frenzy sucks, because Frenzy is supposed to be a movement speed ability, but in this game it doesn't increase your movement speed. So Frenzy has no real value, in my opinion, the way it currently works. Maybe that changes later with legendaries and paragon levels. I have no idea. But lunging strike, it's not like the damage by itself is super high, but you can pump the damage up pretty good, and the movement speed is a real bonus. So yeah, as you can see, I'm just melting everything. I gotta find a stupid key now, but okay, let's go and kill this boss down here then. I'm not a big fan of the dungeon design in this game, to be honest, but you know, I think that's an opinion widely shared. So kill this dude. I mean, lucky he died extremely easily. I didn't even use any of my cooldowns. When I'm really stacking, because I got ground stomp. Where is it? Yes, 18% damage when I'm standing in my ground stomp because there's an earthquake on the ground. Wrath of the Berserker, Warcry. You know, I'm also probably when I'm standing still fighting a boss, I'm building up this 30%. It doesn't get a lot of time to stack though, but because the boss will die pretty quickly. But there's a lot of potential in this build, and there's a lot of potential for optimizing it because I've just thrown this together. I haven't been playing the beta all day every day like some people, so I'm sure the actual capability, if you had really optimized gear and probably more optimized talents, you could take this a lot further. Whether it scales at the higher levels and higher difficulties, I have no idea. But it could be one of them situations. It's like if you play Diablo 3 and you play the Wastes build with the Waste set, and then you equip the Bulkathos weapons, and you just zoom around the levels, killing Torment 16 for farming purposes. I mean, that build doesn't excel, especially not with the Bulkathos weapons. It doesn't excel at the higher Greater Rifts in Diablo 3. But for like the lower stuff, for the speed clearing, is one of the best setups in the game probably. So this might end up being one of those situations where it's really good at clearing easy content like this. But it also might, I have no idea, it might end up being actually good. So I'm gonna play this build when the game comes out. I like it a lot. It's quite fast, quite fast paced. Fuck you, Mr. Pitlord. And as you can see, the upheaval part of the build is not important, but it does help when you get large, clustered packs of AoE. You use your ground stomp, and you just wipe them out with an upheaval. Let's get some gold. 1,000 demons, nice. Elites just melt, absolutely melt, and I'm not really taking a lot of damage. That's got to be more to do with my gear being pretty good. I've only got 527 health. That's kind of low, but I've been focusing more on the damage side of things. I'm not sure if I did mention, but healthy damage to healthy enemies is quite good for this kind of build, because the purpose is to, like I said, to one-shot the targets. So while maybe the healthy targets stat is probably not as desirable for when you fight in more difficult, higher health targets, at least for this clearing, it does make a big difference, I think, because you're rarely needing to fight, hit the mob more than once or twice. So the initial hit is always really big, even if I just let him die from the bleed. Let's see if I can maximize this 30% buff there. So I'm gonna hold down. As you can see, I'm teleporting around. I keep the buff. I'm watching him die from that bleed now. Goodbye. Easy peasy. Where's this boss then? I want to fight the boss. Let's go, motherfucker. I'm a bit scuffed with my use of cooldowns. But I think if you when it's played well, and you do everything in it right, these bosses are gonna die in. They're gonna die so quickly. And I think this build, this Lunging Strike build, is pretty good. Is it the best barbarian build? I have no idea. I haven't had time to play the other builds, so I've just focused my time on playing this one. I did have a quick go with Frenzy. I thought Frenzy was just bad. I mean, it really needs a buff. I think they need to buff Frenzy by giving Frenzy like a movement speed bonus, a significant movement speed bonus. Where is Frenzy? Frenzy. I mean, it does okay damage-ish, but it doesn't stack enough. And maybe they'll add stacks later. In fact, I imagine they would do with either legendary powers or Paragon or something. But it really needs just a movement speed element built into the build, because that's the whole point of Frenzy. If you played Frenzy in Diablo 2, you would just fucking blitzing through the levels. The Frenzy is what I played in Diablo 2, and you know, it was my favorite build. And I know it's simple. There's nothing special about it. The special part of Frenzy is building up your speed and just maintaining the speed through the level as you just maul through enemies. And in Diablo 3, they finally nailed it with the Savage set, which does work really well. It's got really high single target damage. It's absolutely amazing for killing Rift bosses. So they did a good job of it with Diablo 3, I think. But in Diablo 4, this is the worst version of Frenzy, because it isn't Frenzy. It's just generic dual wielding build, in my opinion. I have not tried Bash or Flay, and I know a lot of people are playing Flay. Okay, I've just been playing Lunging Strike since level 1. I think it kicks ass. You know, my gear is really good now, but I've got videos on my Twitch where I had much worse gear, and I was still deleting bosses pretty quickly. You know, like 10 seconds or something. Now I've got it down to the 5-second range. If I had the level 35 gear in all these slots and I was optimized, I mean, it's going to die in 2 seconds. You know, so I think the build is pretty good. It moves really fast. It can handle AoE situations. You know, you've got a CC break. I was using the other one. It was a Charge and Shout. Originally, I was using a different one, which was a lower cooldown. Let me find it. Not Warcry. I got that. Let me find this motherfucker. Rallying Cry. I was using Rallying Cry. I said with the Fury generator. To be honest, there's no real point in using Rallying Cry other than the fact that it's got a shorter cooldown for CC breaks. But I don't think CC's happen enough that you need to use Rallying Cry as a CC break. Wrath of the Berserker, you know, increases your damage, so, and it still gives you the Fury generation. So I think that's the go. Warcry is an obvious one. You know, you press it, it gives you Berserking, it gives you damage. At this point, I'm not really needing to use it other than for elites. Death Blow, it does a lot of single target damage, but I find it slows down the pace of the build when you press it. Like I did press it just now. It does do a lot of damage, but without maximizing Death Blow, I'm not sure if it's really worth pressing a lot of the time, because you can get your Berserking up in other ways, and it seems to stutter the characters, like it slows down the animations or something. So when you go back to Lunging Strike, you feel like there's a delay, and I feel like it kind of drops the DPS a bit. Ground Stomp, I've been using Ground Stomp since I started playing the game. I enjoy using it so much, because I've used it so much in Diablo 3 as well. I'm not sure if it is the best for this slot, but I've gone full in by including this legendary, which I think is pretty decent. There may be a better solution, I have no idea. But yeah, Lunging Strike build. Yeah, people have been sleeping on this build. This build kicks ass. Just get basic skill damage, find yellow items with basic skill damage. Okay, turn them into legendaries. If you can find a legendary with basic skill damage like I did on this, I think I got it from the world boss in the first beta, in the first week. You know, this kicks ass. Core skill damage on it, you know, that's less valuable. But for me on this weapon, it's the basic skill damage and the healthy target damage, because I want to one-shot everything I hit. And it's obviously not going to one-shot the elites, but you want to do enough damage on that first hit to get a massive bleed up on the boss, on the mob, and you know, a big first initial hit. And then you get, once you get him into injured, I've also got this, so increased critical strike against injured targets. I think injured is below 20%, and healthy is above 80%. I'm not 100% certain on these details, but yeah, you know, attack speed, this legendary power, vital. The barrier one, where's it going? The barrier generates a barrier. Once you've got that, you combine it with this, so you get the extra damage, 33% in this case. Apparently that's the top roll. Insane. And yeah, you're just stacking all of these percentage damage bonuses, and then you just go in there and you just delete everything. Yeah, that's been me. You know, it's been a long time since I've made a video. This has been like a one take, you know, off the cuff thing. I wanted to do something just so I could record my you know, my fun on the beta. Diablo 4 looks like it's going to be pretty good. I mean, I think the dungeons kind of suck ass a bit, but hopefully they can do something about that. Some of the barbarian skills seem to be kind of lackluster, but I'm looking forward to playing this, and I'm going to be playing a variation of this build probably when the game comes out, and then if something, you know, much more interesting comes about, especially at level 50 with this Paragon, whatever that does, maybe I'll change. But yeah, Lunge and Strike, I think this is, you know, this is a winner. I really enjoy it. Anyway, cheers. Probably see you in another year or two. Goodbye.